What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be having a look at the BOSS Katana Mark II 100 watt head. Before we get rolling, I'll run you through the signal chain. Quick little life hack: if you want instant access to the knobs in the Katana, just lay it face down. So I'm plugging my Hamer Standard, which has a Seymour Duncan EVH pickup in the bridge and a Jazz in the neck, straight into the Katana. That is going into my cab room out of shot, which has a Marshall 4x12 with 25 watt greenbacks mic'd up with a Sennheiser E609. That's going to my UAD Apollo Twin interface and straight into Pro Tools with no post-processing. Now, if you're familiar with the previous generation of Katanas, you know there's 5 main modes: acoustic, clean, crunch, lead, and brown. I think brown was my favorite of all those modes. So that's where we're going to start. You know, most people would start with the clean sound, but I'm a rock pig. I want distortion. I want to hear that brown mode because we now have a variation on all of these models. So we've gone from 5 to 10 main amp modes, and then the effects can all be run at the same time. So you have concentric knobs for the booster and the modulation together. Then you've got effects and delay together and reverb on its own. And you can assign anything that you like to these knobs using the Katana Tone Studio, which I've got hooked up at the moment, but I'm not going to be playing with that. I'm just going to use the tactile interface of the amp. The other thing I'm really excited to check out is the new cab resonance function. We've got vintage, modern, and deep, and I'll also have a look at the power control where we can go from 100 to 50 to 0.5 watts. Pretty cool stuff. You can also save up to 4 presets for instant access on the front panel. I think like 8 presets using the Tone Studio. You can also use it as a power amp for your modeler, so I'll try to pull out a modeler right at the end. But for now, let's hear this brown mode. I have the gain a little past 9 o'clock. It's probably closer to 10 o'clock. I've got the volume at noon. The master is at about 10 o'clock. I'm sure you can probably see all of these settings on there anyway. I forget that I do those kind of things. And the presence is at noon, all the EQs at noon, and I'm on the 100 watt mode with the cab resonance set in the middle. All right, let's hear the variation on that immediately. So it's kind of like a little bit darker, a little bit chewier. It feels a little bit different to me. The normal brown mode kind of sounds like an old modded Marshall, whereas this variation, it's almost kind of got like a Friedman-y sort of vibe. So let's dial this in a bit. I will probably turn the presence down with greenbacks, and I'm going to boost the mids. Everything else feels pretty good, but I'm going to play with more gain on the variation. That is thick. Let's hear the differences. I'm going to back the gain off just a little bit on this brown mode. The differences between the cab resonance settings. So I'm on modern at the moment. Let's hear deep. I like that a lot already. That's giving it a lot more kind of thud. Cool, so the deep really kind of sounds like it boosts the low end and the high end a little bit. It's got more of a Mesa kind of vibe, and the vintage mode really feels saggy. It feels good. I'd like that with just the non-variation of the brown mode. Let's hear that. That is definitely kind of brown sound worthy. It's maybe a little bit bright, so I'd probably go in and back a bit of treble off and boost the bass and mids some more. Let's hear that. That's pretty cool. Let's try some of the effects, and let's maybe go to the clean mode so that we can hear these. With the gain pretty much at noon, and what I'll do with this, because I want to hear the variation on the clean mode, I'll level out the EQ. So the non-variation is essentially a classic Roland JC120 sort of sound. And what I would do to dial that in, I'd probably turn the bass down and I would turn the treble up. That's quite nice. Let's hear the variation on that. That's really, really nice. That's got way more of a kind of Fender blackface thing going on about it, especially with the gain boosted. So let's start, rather than start with the boost stuff, we'll start with the reverb. So as you turn the knob up, you're going to bring in some of the mix, and then you can press the little button and change the reverb modes. You can have 3 different preset modes per, I guess, preset in here. Like I was saying, the different rigs. You can have 4 different rigs or channels or tone settings, as they call them, saved in here, and there's also 8 that you can generate with the editor. So let's just hear this first reverb. Kind of sounds like a plate. Let's hit the variation. That's kind of cool, like a clanky spring. And let's hear the next one. I can see the editor. There's a whole reverb. I think I like the Hall the best. I'll just turn the mix down. And again, we can try the different cab resonance settings. This is the deep setting. I think for this clean mode, vintage is the way to go with the cab setting. That's pretty awesome. All right, let's add a little bit of delay. This is a concentric knob. The top one is going to control the delay, and I've got a choice between digital, analog, and tape echo. As the stock settings, you can of course go into the editor and have a tone setting for basically any type of delay that you like. I think, well, it looks a lot like the GT1000 editor, so I'm guessing that there's a lot of the modes from the current range, like the BOSS GT1000 and the 500 series, which is pretty awesome. This is a delay mode that I like. What one is it? Tape echo, all right. I like that a lot. There is a tap function. Where is the tap function? Just here. So if you wanted more of like a fast slapback thing. Man, I'm digging this variation on the clean channel. All right, we can move on to the effects section. Staring at the editor, at the moment, I think it's a tremolo. Let's hear that. That's quite a sweet sounding trem. Excuse my creaky chair. The variation is... it's a touch wah. Cool. And the variation on that is an octaver. And that's a pretty smooth sounding octave effect. In the editor, you can choose between compressors, parametric EQs, stuff like the harmonizers and the vocalizers in there, but the stock settings that you get out of the box, which again, is what I want to demonstrate in this video, is an octaver. So maybe I'll turn the delay and the octaver off. Let's try the modulation setting. What is that? That is, I'm looking at modulation, so that's a chorus straight up. Sorry, that was a phaser, this is a chorus. Please send help. I can't remember how to play that song. So, chorus, phaser. I like that quite a lot. And then there is a flanger. That's pretty nice. Then we've got a bunch of boost options again on a concentric pot. What's this one straight up? The blues. That's nice with this tone. whatever distortion mode this is with the clean sound is, it's kind of got a nice gritty fuzz thing going on. So let's add a bit of delay. What was the effect that I had? Hopefully it's the wah. No, it's the octaver. I'll add a little bit of that phaser modulation on there. Let's go back to the touch wah. That's pretty cool. So you can use it the way you would use a pedal board. Of course, there is an attachment for the foot switch, which comes with this. So plenty of effects in there. And like I said, you can get into the editor and assign much more than the stock 3 modes that are in here. You can basically fine tune it. Again, similar to the way, if you're familiar with the GT1000 would work. All right, let's go back to that overdrive boost, which I think was the red one. So I'm gonna leave that off. I'm gonna leave this phaser on, and a little bit of this tape echo and reverb, and I'm going to go to, let's just go back to the brown mode. Yeah, let's hear this. Let's see if this can get really brown. That's pretty outrageous. It's a little bit hissy, but you would expect that with like an amp with loads of gain and a booster on. So I'll turn the boost off. I really like the stock phaser mode there, and I really like that tape delay and that reverb. There is, of course, a lead mode. So let's just go through and have a listen to the crunch and the lead mode and the variations. We'll start with crunch. I'm still on the vintage mode of the cab resonance. Let's now hear the lead mode and its variation. The variation on the lead mode is very, very pronounced. That's almost taking it, I guess, from a sort of modded Marshall kind of vibe. So I would say like a Mesa kind of vibe. If you really wind the gain up there, let's make this sound really smooth and add a bit of delay in there. This should be pretty rad. Where's the tap? All right, let's hear this, and I'll go to the deep mode. I want to hear this. It should be very, very boogie inspired. That is a lot of very, very smooth gain going on there. All right, let's go back to the brown mode. and we will go to the vintage setting. I'll just kind of set this up the way I had it again. I'll turn the gain down a bit. I just want to hear the difference between the different power scaling modes, and I will normalize these in post so that you can hear the impact on the tone. But there is a very significant volume drop. Like when you go from 100 watts to 50 watts, it's very audible, and then when you go down to 0.5 watts, it takes your sort of screaming, loud tone, and this is very loud at the moment. I've only got the master, like I said, at about 10 o'clock, and it really, really tames it and brings it down. So you could basically have your setup for a gig or something like that, and then just kick it down to 0.5 watts and practice in your bedroom, which, hey, that's a really, really cool feature. But let's hear this all normalized, and you know what? I'm just gonna put all the EQ controls, except for the presence, at noon, gain at noon, volume at noon. I'm on the variation, cab resonance is vintage. Let's hear the different modes. And let's do the same thing with that variation clean mode. That was one of my favorite modes there. So bass down, treble up, gain up, variation on, 100 watts, 50 watts, 0.5 watts. Alrighty, there we go. Where am I? 0.5 watts at the moment. So hopefully that gives you guys a good impression of what to expect. If you try one of these out in a music store, or you buy one and you take it out of the box without having to do any deep tweaking, this is pretty much the out-of-the-box experience. The new cab resonance modes I really, really like. If you're going for more vintage tones, the vintage mode is the way to go. If you want more of a sort of modern, tight thing, then set it on deep or modern. The way the effects controls work is so much more intuitive and makes so much more sense. The concentric pots is a really nice way to keep things kind of clean and tidy. And then the variations all sound really, really good. I particularly like the variation on the clean channel and the lead channel to bring out some different tones. The fact that you've got an editor where you can just about bump in any effect type you like, you know, like compressors, harmonizers, different types of overdrives, like your sort of classic Boss overdrives or fuzzers, tube screamers, all that kind of thing. Different delay modes, different reverb modes. Instead of reverb, you could have another delay on there. There's so many features going on here. And I said I was going to try and connect a modeler to this, but I think I've more than overstayed my welcome for this video. So we'll do that in a more in-depth look at this particular unit. But if you have questions that you would like me to answer in a sort of more in-depth review demo, please let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think about the new Katana Mark II. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.